The thing about opportunities, right? Because you have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like in chess, they say good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. It doesn't matter what it goes to, right? You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. So you've always got to be in a position where you have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money, you can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. So it doesn't matter, right? Once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right. Once you get to a certain point, you can gamble to a degree, right?
Well, doing my research and stuff, you haven't always been a multi-millionaire, yeah? I want to say probably near billionaire level or something like that. So when did you clock all of this? When did you find out this side of life?
I always knew that the Matrix existed, and I always knew that the traditional systems and
From what age did you know?
Say again?
From what age did you know?
I always knew.
Okay.
I just knew. Even when I was going to school and they were sitting there going, you're not going to get a good job if you don't get good grades. I was the one sitting there going, you're a liar. Shut up. I just knew the teacher was lying. I knew school was bullshit. I knew college was bullshit. I knew university was a lie. I always knew it was a trick and a con. I didn't truly understand things to the level I understand them now. But I had an intrinsic understanding, and I think everybody does. If you're in a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, drug dealer, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree. Because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, I want to make money, so I go to university. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think everybody knows that the system and the path they lay out for you is not a path that's going to lead to where you want to be. And I didn't know what the other path was, but that intrinsic distrust for the system and that distrust for the things they wanted me to do made me search for other avenues. And then I found them, right? And if you speak to the people who are richest, if you speak to the people you know, this is for everyone at home as well, if you speak to the people you know who have the most money and go up to them and say, hey, what made you rich? None of them say school. Do any of them say school made me rich? I got an A in GCSE. Like, who gives a shit? It's just bullshit, right? So it's all indoctrination. So I knew it was indoctrination, and for that reason, I was always searching. And if you're searching, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I always believe that as well. Growing up as well, I always thought that, here was my theory. I've got a theory of business studies. A lot of people thought I was full of shit and stuff, yeah? But I want to kind of hear your opinion towards it. So I've done business studies in GCSE. In my opinion, the whole textbook, everything, the teacher, everything's full of shit. Yeah, literally, I feel like they overcomplicate it and confuse it on purpose because they don't want entrepreneurs, right? And they want people to be stuck in the system. People said I'm full of shit because of that.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, but they teach you things that, the problem is as well, it's difficult because the way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I believe that unless a lesson is taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down till he wrecks it.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company, that when you have 3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. That's kind of how it works.
Before we dive more deep into your story, firstly, we need like 20,000 likes on this video. Secondly, I want to ask you one last question before we dive deep into your life, yeah? I Googled your net worth, right? Okay. And it says $30 million. How accurate is that? Because let me just say before this, I see a $5 million Bugatti, and I'm like, maybe a guy with $30 million won't spend his money on a $5 million Bugatti. Don't make sense. So he's probably got some.
Yeah, you know what's actually the saying? If you know what you have, you ain't got much. That is completely true.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue how much money I have. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much money I had. I had 117 pound in the NatWest, and that was it. I'm poor, rent's paid, I ain't got nothing else. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much I had. But now I'm at a point where it gets really difficult to truly measure how much money I have, because you have cash, okay, that's easy. I have some crypto, which is constantly fluctuating, and then you have assets, and the price of the assets is constantly fluctuating. And then I have companies and income streams, which need to be valued. And how do you value them, right? They can be an 8 times multiplier in some circumstances, and others that'll be a 10 times multiplier.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for me to put a value on it. If you were to say to me, how much money do I have in the bank? But then even then, so I've got to be careful what I say on this podcast. But even then, once you have a healthy respect for money, once you get past a certain amount of money, you don't need it in the bank. Like there's no point in me having 50M liquid in the bank. Why? What am I going to buy? You know, you're like, as long as you have whatever you have in the bank to run around the world with, you have enough. So you try and put that money to use, right? You buy assets, XYZ. So it's really difficult. I mean, I have my online school, which we'll talk about later, Hustlers University.
Yep.
That's already been valued. That was valued at 300 million.
When did you start Hustlers University?
A year ago.
A year ago. Fuck.
Yeah. And that's valued at 300 million.
Yeah.
So, but then I ain't gonna sell it. So, but then again, I had a valuation between 280 and 340. So again, how much money do I have? I don't know. I could, if I really wanted to, if I wanted to sit here and say I was worth 500 million, I could prove that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you sold up everything?
If I wanted to, I could come up with 500 million probably.
Yeah, I believe that's what I'm saying. A guy like that buy another Bugatti. I'm pretty sure I saw a vlog where you're gonna buy another Bugatti.
I've already bought a second one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Which one?
I've put another order down for another Chiron. So it's because that's the only one that's out right now. There's a Roadster coming supposedly. I've heard rumors of.
Yeah.
I've bought a Koenigsegg as well. I got a Jamera on the way.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Pagani.
I saw that you put it on your story, so I assumed
the new
probably.
Pagani. But you know what? This is another thing about money. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna complain. This is gonna upset all the brokies at home. There's nothing to fucking buy. Like you buy 3 or 4 diamond watches. You buy a couple suits. You buy some cars. What else? What else is there to buy? You end up just spunking it on bottle shows and $10,000 steaks. There's nothing to buy. You can go on a holiday and travel, blah, blah, blah. But if you're actually looking for physical items, things to own and buy, there ain't much to buy. Okay, you can buy property, but property is a funny one for me because I'm very anti-governmental as a person, and I think that property is one of the big tools the Matrix uses to enslave.
To keep you in the system.
Completely, man. You buy a $10 million house in whatever country, you don't want to piss off the government of that country.
Yeah, but
because you'll lose that house.
Saying that, I know you bounce everywhere, different locations.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what about buying houses in different locations? You still don't agree with that?
Nah, because then you got a headache if you got to look after it. Now it becomes a job, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who talk about passive income, and we'll talk about passive income because I think that's the biggest scam on the planet. The idea of passive income in and of itself is a lie.
You're the first person on the podcast to say that.
bro. Yeah, no, like everyone goes, oh, I want passive income. Well, of course you do. Everyone wants passive income, but tell me how you're going to get it, because only having tenants is not passive income. Ask anybody who has tenants. It's fucking headache, right?
Yeah.
If I have a house XYZ, I got to make sure it's looked after, not broken into, the electricity's on, it's cleaned. I got to get someone on the ground. My assistant's got to deal with it. Now it's just got to be something to deal with. And once I got a bunch of money, what I really wanted more than anything was freedom. There's a bunch of these real high-level crypto guys, you know, like the guys who invented Ethereum and all that,
yeah.
the autistic guys. They don't own anything. And I kind of get that. I'm at the point now where they have a backpack of their possessions. And if they want a house, they rent it. They want a Lambo, they rent it. If I need to go somewhere, rent. I don't own anything. I don't have any hassle. Nothing's in my name. No government can take anything from me. You know, you get to a point of wealth where you kind of start thinking, do I want to have all this crap now I got to deal with? Really, you want peace of mind. And I have enough troubles in my head. I don't need to be worried about my mansion in Santa Monica, which has been broken into. And I don't even go there. Do you know what I mean? It's just long. So that's that. And then also what I was saying earlier about property being a tool to the Matrix. If you buy a $10 or $20 million property under a government, you can't piss that government off. You can't disagree with that government. You can't, if the tax authority of that government says you owe them money, you better fucking pay it, or you're gonna lose that house, right? Yeah. If they say you better take an injection in your arm for the good of society, you better take your vaccine. You better put your mask on. You can't even get a parking ticket, my G. Listen, if I'm in England right now, I don't own any assets in England, right? And I pull up in the DBS. Have you ever seen James Bond look for parking? Me neither. No, fuck no. He parks up and gets out. That's what I do. Park up, boom, get out. I don't look for parking. They put a ticket on the DBS. Let's say I decide not to pay that, right? What are they going to do? I don't have any assets in the UK. They're going to make a bunch of letters, send it to a bailiff. Bailiff's going to drive around the UK. I don't even live here. Boom, it's over, right? If I had a 20 million pound house, eventually it's going to go, the 60 pound becomes 120, 120 becomes 240. Yeah, bailiff comes, 2 grand, 3 grand, boom, boom, boom. Gets to the point where they're going to take my 20 million pound house off me. Maybe it takes 3 years, but they will, over a parking ticket. So by buying that property, you're now giving you're giving the government a way to hurt you. You're giving them a leverage over you. And I'm at the point of wealth now. I have enough hidden money where I don't want any government to have any leverage over me. I want a government to say, Andrew, we don't like you. And me say, get fucked. Safe. All right, I won't come then. Bye. Like, and that's the problem with property. Property is a tricky one. I know you can make money with it, but you have to understand that they'll use it against you, man. It's a leverage. So
well, let me ask you though. I completely understand the whole concept of coming out of the matrix and stuff, yeah. But for what reason? Like, what's the end goal? Like, where do you see your life in terms of in the future?
I'll tell you why. I always knew I wanted to escape the matrix before I escaped it. Let me tell you why. If COVID has not woke people up in the last 3 years, I don't know what's wrong with you. The government came along, closed your business down by force, forced you to have a medical procedure you didn't want, made you stay in your house and cover your face because of something with a 99.9% fucking survival rate. They come along and literally broke every single rule. They broke the Geneva Human Rights Convention, every single law that they wrote themselves. They just broke them all under the guise of safety. More people committed suicide from mental health issues, or more people died from missed doctor's appointments for real diseases because of this crap. They came along and did it because they were told to by someone above the government, because the government's not even in charge of anything. And now they've gone back to normal. Everyone thinks they're not going to do it again for some other reason. You think across the next 30 years they're not going to come back with some new shit? Fuck them. Next time, when they come along with this crap, I'm out. I'm bouncing. See ya. When they did this, I went to Sweden. Sweden was open the whole time. Sweden never locked down. I was in clubs in Stockholm while everyone else was here locked in their houses clapping for the NHS like a jackass. I was in the nightclub. No masks, no vaccine, no lockdown, nothing. Running around with Swedish chicks. So I just run to freedom, right? But if I had, let's say, a big property within the UK, I can't just say fuck the UK.
Yeah.
So once you escape the matrix and you try and find a way to get your wealth outside of the system, then you can exist geographically anywhere. And once you can do that, then laws don't really apply to you. If they made a law in the UK I was unhappy with, I'd just leave. And if they made a law in Romania where I live I'm unhappy with, I would just leave. I don't have to be a law breaker. I don't have to be a criminal. I'll just go somewhere else, right? So property kind of ties you down, things tie you down. And if you look at the real high levels of wealth, if you look at the billionaires and stuff, they're trying to do the same thing. They don't own anything. They have a share in a company which owns a shell company in the Cayman Islands, which owns this subsidiary of a company in Dubai, which owns a boat that they can use.
Yep.
It's that Aikido. It's the same thing. Get out of the matrix. That's what everyone's trying to do. Right?
You know what?
Yep.
You know, if your dad's born, if you're born and your dad's got Ferraris, Lamborghinis and stuff like that,
yep.
You think that they're not really experiencing true fun and happiness sort of thing because they don't know the difference.
It's not the destination, it's the journey. And humans, we all work in regards to, it's even the way the human body works, right? If you're driving at 200 miles an hour, you don't feel it. You only feel the acceleration getting to 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So if you're born at 200 miles an hour, it doesn't feel fast. It doesn't feel fun. Me, my life feels fun now because of all the acceleration to get here, and I can remember the times when I was stuck by the side of the motorway without a car.
Yeah.
So I have that juxtaposition. Without that, it's not even interesting. It's not even fun. So the brokey days, anyone who's out here who's broke, good. These will be the happiest days of your life once you made it. You just got to remember everything and sit around with your boys. I mean, maybe some people change with money. Maybe if you get new friends and things change, but I hang around with the exact same people I did when I was poor. I got the same friends. I live with the same people, the same guys, same jokes, nothing's changed for me. So for me, I'm just a broke guy with a bunch of money. That's all that's happened.
Just the financial situation's changed.
Yeah, the financial situation's changed. That's it.
So you grew up in Luton, right?
Yeah.
So what was your whole upbringing like then?
Yeah, so I was born in America. I left America when I was 10.
Yep.
Moved to Luton, where my mom was originally from. Went to Lee Manor High School in Marsh Farm. I think it was one of the bottom 3 high schools in the country at the time. Went to a nice rubbish high school. Went to college, did some A-levels. Rejected university because they tried to tell me to do a personal statement. Couldn't be bothered.
Is it?
Yeah, that was literally
What would you have studied in uni?
I did really well in my A-levels. In my GCSEs, I didn't try. And I got a bunch of B's and C's. And I know I'm a genius, right? So it annoyed me. So I thought I'm actually going to try for my A-levels. So I got a bunch of A's. I did business studies as well, got an A. And then I did some advanced diploma in business studies for the top 1% of scores or some crap. And I got a merit in that. And then I was offered a place at, what was it called? Begins with A. Ascot.
Okay, yeah. That's in next to Birmingham.
Yeah. For advanced business, like basically what every man would dream of, right? Advanced business, university, blah, blah. I offered this place. And they said I had to do a personal statement. And I said, no, I don't. I've already been offered a place. They already give me a place because I'm the big G. Look at my scores. I'm a genius. And they said, no, you still have to do a personal statement. I was like, why? Who's going to read this? Hi, my name's Andrew. I like to run.
You literally got to sew
I go
yourself in
to
a
the
piece of
gym.
paper.
Like, no one's reading this shit. Like, why am I even writing this? It offended me.
Yeah.
And my class tutor, or whoever she was like, well, everyone's doing one. And I was like, you know what? Get fucked. And tell Ascot to get fucked too. So I didn't even go. I quit that. My mom went nuts, obviously. Told her I was going to be a kickboxing world champion. She's like, no, you're not. Wrong. So I just started kickboxing. I got a normal job. I got a wagey job. I was a wagey. I was working as an IT technician in my former high school, fixing laptops.
Okay.
Got fired from there for sleeping with the head girl. You know how it is. It's hard out here.
How old?
I was like 18.
Oh, shit,
and she
okay.
was 16. So I was like, what's the problem? And they're like, oh yeah, but you're a member of staff. Da, da, da. Whatever. So I got fired from there. And then, yeah, I got some sales jobs. And I was training hard to fight. And I think sales jobs are probably the best job any person can get. If I had to get a job again, it'd be a sales job. Because you learn a lot as a salesman. You learn, and sales is a really important skill. You learn a skill. And also, if you're actually good at it, it's not even really like having a job. They don't fire the top salesman.
Yeah, no, they don't.
No, they do not fire the top salesman. You turn up late. You crash your car.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, G. Boom. Here's my numbers. They're like, oh, all right, dickhead. But all right, bye. They don't give a fuck if you're the big boss, right? So if you're a salesman, it's the only time you get any kind of freedom, and also all the responsibility and all the pressures on your back where it belongs as a man. You need to adopt stress and adopt problems if you want to be successful as a man. And as a salesman, you get that. So I had a bunch of sales jobs. I did a bunch of sales things. I was fighting, became world champion, started making money with fighting. But even fighting, kickboxing is not boxing, bro. Most I ever got paid for a fight was like 200 grand.
Yeah, because some boxers, I think Amir Khan for his last fight, rumors have it that he got paid about 6 million or something like that.
Yeah. Boxing's different.
That's big money, yeah.
Yeah, it's big money. But as a kickboxer, you don't make that much money, man. I had an apartment and a BMW, and I was doing all right, but I wasn't balling. You know, I couldn't just pull money out the sky and just do whatever. Like if you're fighting twice in a year, and let's say you get 50 grand for one fight, 40 grand for another fight, what, 90 grand? By the time you give your manager 20%, pay all your rent, paid your car, but you ain't rich. Right? And that's the best you'll ever get out of kickboxing, ever.
Well, even at top level.
Top level. You have to go to UFC, and even most UFC fighters have no money.
Yeah.
You got to be the champ to get paid.
Yeah, people saying Dana White robs their fighters.
Well, I mean, the thing is with the UFC is that everyone says Dana White should pay them more, but look at how liquid the UFC is. Even during COVID, when basically every other organization couldn't function and shut down, he managed to keep shows running. He managed to keep UFC running, keep fighters getting paid, keep fighters in shape. I mean, I know a lot of kickboxers who didn't have a fight for two and a half years. How are you gonna stay in shape for 2.5 years?
Yeah, and then you come out
doing what?
Yeah.
How are you gonna drive to the gym every day, eat good every day without not even getting paid to fight now? So it's hard. So maybe he does rob the fighters. I don't know, but he's an excellent businessman. He's provided a platform for people. But the point I'm trying to make is that fighting as a career path is a terrible career path because it's just too hard to make money. Too much can go wrong. You can get unlucky. You can break your hand. You know, you can get sick on the day before a fight and then lose the fight because you had a bit of a cold and now you got knocked out and you're you know what I mean? Like it's hard. It's too hard. It's unpredictable. So I always knew that even when I was fighting, and I was always trying to find a way to make money. Even when I was fighting, all I did was try different ways to make money. I tried a million things, and that's what you have to do. You have to try a bunch of things and learn a bunch of lessons until you finally find something that works.